With just 12 days remaining until Election Day, I'm guessing that you, like me, probably are ready for this thing to be over. But you also probably suspect that that isn't necessarily going to happen on Election Day because we know how elections are processed here and we know that things are super close. So the question remains, when will we know? When will we finally know who won this thing? Well, let's try to figure that out together, okay? So last go around, the election was called on Saturday, November 7th. That was 4 days after Election Day. Of course, that was 4 days after Donald Trump had declared himself to be the winner falsely, but took 4 days. So are we in store for another days-long wait? We just might be, and it has to do with the only states that truly matter in this election, which are the swing states, and how they start to count the votes. So we're gonna go through them, starting on the East Coast, and we're gonna go from fastest to slowest. So Georgia, not so bad. They've already started tabulating their mail-in ballots. It's allowed starting the third Monday before Election Day, and ballots can start being counted on 7 a.m. on Election Day under state law. So that's good. They've got a jump on it. North Carolina, the state starts processing mail-in ballots before Election Day and will begin counting its absentee ballots on Election Day before the polls close. So that's not bad, okay? Next up are Michigan and Nevada. So Michigan, they passed a new law after the 2020 election that now allows absentee votes to start being counted 8 days before Election Day or the day before Election Day for towns with fewer than 5,000 people. So they thankfully changed that, so there'll be a little bit less waiting there. In Nevada, unlike in 2020, the state now allows mail-in ballots to start being counted 15 days before Election Day, and officials can count ballots as they come on Election Day. So 4 of the 7, not so bad. It might take until late in the night, but we'll have the count relatively quickly. So let's move down to Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, the state will be one of the slowest to release results from mail-in ballots because officials can't start processing absentee ballots, taking steps like removing ballots from envelopes and verifying voter signatures until the morning of Election Day, and cannot record any vote totals until after polls close at 8 p.m. So that is best case scenario gonna be a very late at night sort of thing. In Wisconsin, they also don't start processing mail ballots until Election Day, meaning it will take longer to report the results. Both states also, by the way, had very high numbers of requests for absentee ballots, 1.9 million in Pennsylvania and over 700,000 in Wisconsin. So there's a lot to count and they can't start until Election Day. Now in Arizona, the state starts counting early mail-in ballots when they're received, even if that's prior to Election Day. The state's counting could still get slowed down by a regulation that requires officials to wait until polls are closed and all voters have left until they collect ballots that were left in ballot drop boxes on Election Day, however. So we'll get like most of the votes counted relatively early, but there could still be thousands of votes out there. They won't even collect them, let alone start counting them until late in the process. And in a state like Arizona, where the polls are so close, that could very much be enough to sway the results. And weirdly enough, we could have a thing where we know some of the early vote, and then we know the whole day of vote, which we expect will be more Republican, but there will still be this narrow slice of vote, mail-in ballots that likely lean Democratic waiting to come in at the very end. So we used to have, like the early vote and then the day of. Now we have a third level of that. And so there could very well be, there could be chaos. There could be, remember there was the red mirage.
Yeah.
We could have that again. Or maybe the polling is off in the wrong way. Like it's just, everybody is not going to know until at the very least very late on Election Day. And I would not go into Election Day expecting to know for sure. Trey, what do you make of this? Are you concerned? Yeah. What effect do you think this will have?
Yeah, I agree with you in pretty much everything you said. I mean, I've been expecting us not to know on the day of, and it would take a while, but the whole red mirage thing, even though it happened last time and even though how everything ultimately shook out, I don't expect that to matter this time around when they, based on how votes come in and the way they're reported and when the types of votes that are counted at the time they are counted, it will be a boost to Trump for a while. And when that's reported, he seems to be up by a lot. His people are going to, it's going to be stop the count all over again. You know what I mean? Like that's it. See, I'm winning. That means I won. It's over, even though it's not over. So then when the rest of those votes get counted and it results in a Harris victory, if that's what happens, those people will lose their minds saying like, what happened here? Clearly this is foul play, even though it's nothing of the sort. I mean, yeah, I expect all of that and more, probably.
Yeah, probably. Fire breaks out,
Yeah.
shots are fired, God only knows. And to be clear, everyone, you remember what Trump did. So he comes out and says, we have to, no, stop the count. It's got to be today. You can't make people wait. By the way, all these states that don't start counting until day of, they don't want them that to change. They do not want them to count it earlier because they want uncertainty. They want chaos because they think that will benefit them. We could have the count ready to go for all those votes the morning of election day. And then you just total the ones that happen on election day. You could have the results super early. We could have this thing done at like 2 p.m. The Republicans do not actually want that, despite crying out that it's necessary. Anyway, so we'll be doing a live coverage from the damage report, I think actually before the damage report, until God only knows when, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So we're gonna be live. You remember in 2020, he did that late night press conference where he declared victory, even though it looked like he was gonna lose. So everyone prepare yourself, get your Monster energy drinks ready to go, and we're gonna get through this together.